What is up, wrestling fans? It is that time of the week for the Fanlight Zone Wrestling Team to talk all things pro wrestling and call it right down the middle. That's right, it's time for this week's edition of 607 TWS, the wrestling show, powered by FanlightZone.com. I, of course, am your host. My name is Rich, and joining me as she does most every week in the co-pilot's chair, she is the hunter of the Pokemans because she's got to catch them all. She is the guru of cosplay. But for this show's purposes, and because it's the most importantly in this show, she is a pro grappling connoisseur. She is the first lady of Fanlight Zone, the one and only Miss Sammy. How are you this week?
You know, I have a gripe. You know, one of the nice things about living where I live is it's very quiet, it's very peaceful, except there's this car lot. And for some reason, for the past 4 nights, this car alarm has been going off. And I called to complain today, and they're like, yeah, there's nothing we can do about it. And I'm like, I'm going to murder someone. So how are you doing?
I mean, I'm not having that bad of a day. I mean, this is, of course, we're live. We're live on a Thursday night. Isn't it good to be alive and live on a Thursday night, I guess? There's still something for CM Punk. But to peek behind the curtain, this is the day that Spider-Man Brand New Day came out. And I actually went to see it this afternoon. So I won't send you spoilers, but I was very happy. Let's put it that way. And then we have got a bunch of other stuff going on at Fanlight Zone, so there's always that. But yeah, just, you know, as always, just busy and getting things done, and you know how it goes. But that's enough about that. We're going to talk some pro wrestling, including later on in the show, we will be breaking down and previewing SummerSlam 2026 both nights, because there's 2 nights of that. Of course, we'll also be talking about the New Day. They're free from their chains, and some other news are going on in that zone. Of course, then Grayson Waller went ahead and broke the internet at an NXT. We're going to have to talk about that, and we'll be kicking off the show recapping AEW's Redemption, which went down this past weekend, the final stop pay-per-view wise on the road to AEW All In. But before we get there, let's get some shameless plugs out of the way. Of course, head on over to fanlightzone.com. Check out all those awesome comic book reviews, news. There's articles up. I'm sure Ken M is going to have a review of Spider-Man Brand New Day up on the website, you know, probably by the weekend. On top of that, we also have the bunch, like I said, great comic book reviews, the best team in all of comics. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a part of it and I'm an editor there. I'm saying that because I mean it. Also, while you're there, there's some pro wrestling articles. We're hopefully going to get some more of those up pretty soon, because Man in the Chair Dog, I'm hoping he's going to come back to do some work, because he does some fantastic stuff there. But most importantly, while you're at fanlightzone.com, you can also go ahead and find all of our social medias. Make sure you're following us on those. That's where you can get some videos. And, of course, during wrestling events, especially this weekend during SummerSlam, Ken M will be live posting. I'm going to say live posting. It used to be live tweeting, but live posting on all of our great social media. So you're going to want to check that out and more. And, of course, if you're watching us on X or Twitch, because that's where we do the other live portions, make sure you're following us there. And if you're not already on the YouTube channel, or if you're already there, you already have half the done. But if you're not, after the show's over, head on over to the Fanlight Zone YouTube, smash the subscribe button, click the bell icon for notifications so you know whenever we go live or whenever a new video gets posted. And last but certainly not least, hit that thumbs up to let the algorithm know that you want more Fanlight Zone in your YouTube feed. There you go. Shameless plugs out of the way. We got a big show, so I kind of want to dive right in, and let's open up talking about what went down this past Sunday from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, in the Bell Center. That, of course, is AEW's Redemption. Like I said before, the final pay-per-view stop on the road to the biggest show in the calendar year for All Elite Wrestling, All In. Miss Sammy, let's start off by talking about, I do want to bring this up. The Rougeaus got a little bit of a celebration in the buy-in. Listen, Montreal even hates Jacques Rougeau. Just want to throw that out there. It was nice to see Ray Rougeau. It was nice that, I was happy with the way things were, but it was kind of funny to see Jacques Rougeau even hated by his hometown of Montreal. But moving right along, the only other thing that happened on the buy-in, there was only one match on the buy-in this week, and that would be this pay-per-view. and that would be the AEW World Trios Championships were on the line as the conglomeration would defend the titles in 12 minutes against the Lethal Twist. Fine little kickoff show. Nothing we're proud of. Of course, go fast forward to Dynamite, and the conglomeration would lose the AEW World Trios titles to the Demand. So there you go. The Demand is your new AEW World Trios champions that went down on Dynamite. Just getting that out of the way because might as well. And not that it's bad things. I'm just, let's get out of the way. Return of Hangman Adam Page. That's the key takeaway from that Trios match, right?
Listen, everybody gets a belt in AEW, so Trios belts. That's three taken care of right now.
All right, so we're going to do what we kind of did the last time because I think it works out for time better and everything. Of course, chat, be lively. We always like to hear from you. I'm going to do a quick rundown of the card. Just going to go through each match, just run them down, and then we are going to then pick through the card because, talk about the stuff we like, dislike, and otherwise. All right, so the opening contest was for the number one contendership for the AEW International Championship, and it was a six-way ladder match. The match got 19 minutes and 40 seconds at the end of the day. Speedball Mike Bailey would defeat Jack Perry, the Beast Mortos Commander, Nick Wayne, and Al Klon to become the number one contender for the AEW International Championship, getting that shot at the Grand Slam Mexico, because they're doing Arena Mexico for Grand Slam this upcoming week, and that is where he will get the shot at the International Championship. Of course, we will find out the International Champion in a minute. The next match on the card was a tag team match where in 19 minutes and 40 seconds, look at that, back-to-back matches at 1940, your winners were the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, as they would defeat the Death Rider team of Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay after Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley had a little bit of a disagreement. That would leave the doors open for the Young Bucks to go over. Next up, the AEW International Championship is on the line as your champion, Go-Go Kyle Fletcher, takes on Bandito, of course, who is also the Ring of Honor World Champion. This match got 26 minutes and 20 seconds. At the end of the day, your winner and still the AEW International Champion, Kyle Fletcher. Next up was the double chain tag team match, where you had in 19 minutes and 5 seconds, the Dogs, David Finlay and Clark Connors, defeat the Bang Bang Gang team of Switchblade Jay White and Juice Robinson. Next up, the AEW TBS Championship was on the line as your champion, Hikaru Shida, would defend it against Maya World. This match got 16 minutes and 30 seconds, and at the end of the day, your winner and the new AEW TBS champion, Maya World. Next up, the AEW World Tag Team Championships were on the line as your champions, Cage and Cope, Christian Cage and Adam Copeland, would defend against the Death Rider team of Claudio Castagnoli and Pac. This match got 18 minutes and 35 seconds, and at the end of the day, your winners and still the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Cage and Cope. After the match, the Young Bucks would come to the ring and make it known, very New Japan style, that they wanted to be the number one contenders for the AEW World Tag Team titles. And then Tony Khan split decision puts on the screen AEW All In. It will be the Young Bucks versus Cope and Cage for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Next up, we have the No Holds Barred match that not only was Sammy trying to wrap her head around last week, what no holds were barred or not, but also featuring her favorite wrestler. And don't you worry, in 23 minutes, the Painmaker, Chris Jericho, would defeat Tommaso Ciampa by submission while using a drill. Next up, the AEW National Championship was on the line as your champion, Dunkzilla himself, Mark Davis, took on Andrade El Idolo. And after 16 minutes and 15 seconds, how you know Andrade El Idolo is your new AEW National Champion. Then we had the AEW Women's World Championship on the line as your champion, the Toxic Spider Tekla, took on the number one contender after winning the Casino Gauntlet match, Willow Nightingale. This match got 17 minutes and 10 seconds, and at the end of the day, your winner and the new AEW Women's World Champion, Willow Nightingale, becoming the first ever AEW Women's Grand Slam Champion and punching her ticket to take on Mercedes Moné at All In. Last but certainly not least, the main event of the evening for the AEW World Championship. Your champion, the best bout machine, the cleaner, Kenny Omega, taking on Kevin Knight, who is also your AEW TNT champion. This match got 25 minutes. At the end of the day, your winner and still AEW World Champion, Kenny Omega. After the match, of course, Jon Moxley, who was upset that Will Ospreay would not take matters in his hand earlier with the Young Bucks, came to the ring to take out Kenny Omega with the rest of the Death Riders. Will Ospreay makes the save, only to be put down by a one-winged angel from Kenny Omega, sending a clear message to Will Ospreay that they might be buddies, they might be pals, but at All In, they are going against each other for the richest prize in AEW and possibly the world of pro wrestling, the AEW World Championship. Let's start there. Let's start with the main event, obviously, because we talked about it last. Kenny Omega against Kevin Knight. And I said it going into this. We knew that there was probably no chance that Kevin Knight was becoming champion, which is fine. But all it had to do was make Kevin Knight a bigger star, and I think they succeeded. I thought this was a very good match. I thought that Kevin Knight looked really good in there against Kenny Omega, even in a losing effort. Kenny Omega took care, made sure Kevin Knight looked good. I will say this, they got a little snug during the match. But that came out, it didn't look bad. Both are New Japan competitors, so, doing a little bit more of the hard style is okay. What did you think of the AEW World Championship match? We'll start with the match before we move on to the more important after match in Dynamite.
Well, it definitely cements, Kevin Knight towards that upper echelon of the card, and he already is a champion. Which it's interesting that WWE shies away from the champion versus champion match, but AEW embraces it enough. They're okay with a champion taking a loss, even though it's to another champion. So it's kind of a neat thing, which I do like. I do enjoy that, But yeah, I realistically, the only thing that's really holding, Knight back at this point is just really his promo ability. And we've raved about it. It's gotten really strong, but he really needs that one big coming out promo type thing. And that will really cement himself at the top of the card. He's right there though. So, good for him. Kudos for him. Big match, big main event against one of the biggest superstars of all time. Crushed it. Absolutely crushed it.
I agree. The after post match is where it gets important. Earlier in the night, we saw the starts of this story. Will Ospreay was not willing to go after Nick Jackson after Nick Jackson looked like he hurt his neck a little bit. Did not have that quote unquote killer instinct that did not make Jon Moxley too happy. Jon Moxley, very showing disdain in the back, says to Will Ospreay, "Hey, listen, if you won't pull the trigger, I'll pull the trigger for you." We kind of figured what that meant. So post-match, Kenny Omega gets jumped by the Death Riders. They try to take him out. Will Ospreay makes the save. So before we get to the rest of it, Will Ospreay making the save, we kind of went back and forth, stops him from doing the chair. Then the plastic bag gets introduced. It looks like Will Ospreay's thinking about, suffocating Kenny Omega, to which he then rips the bag up and, disposes of Jon Moxley from the ring. First of all, with all that going on, and then fast forwarding to Dynamite, where you had a segment where now Will Ospreay's no longer with the Death Riders. He's out of the Death Riders, now painting another target on his back. What do you think of it? What are your thoughts on this story with Will Ospreay and the Death Riders coming out of Redemption, going towards All In?
Well, it certainly sets up a nice feud after All In.
True.
Puts Moxley back at the top of the card, which is a place that, he's been at the top for pretty much his entire AEW run. This time period now is his only time period not being at the top of the card. So it would make sense for him to move back up towards the top of the card, because AEW can do a significantly better job right now than WWE can with keeping the top of their card fresh, because WWE just doesn't have enough guys that they trust up there, and AEW has a plethora of guys, including Moxley. So it would make sense as a good first feud after Ospreay wins at All In.
Yeah, I dig that. I also dig the Hangman Adam Page getting involved on Dynamite. It was an interesting conversation. We know that Hangman Adam Page cannot challenge for the AEW World Championship as of right now. I've pitched in the past that I wouldn't be upset if they go back on that if it's done right in storyline. You just have to do it right. Not with a face. I don't think a face Hangman gets the shot. It would be a heel Hangman.
No.
But I did like the setup. I did like, he had those strong words that you needed for Ospreay. Ospreay telling him he doesn't trust him, and basically, Hangman saying, "Hey, you're either going to go in there against the best guy, or you're going to die, or you're going to die trying." And that's how you have to look at it. This is all. It's all or nothing. You're all in, unintended, right? So I did dig that as a whole. The post match, going back to the post match, I did like the work that they did. Kenny Omega gets up, realizes that Will Ospreay helped him, gives him the kind of, oh, okay, cool. They hug it out, they handshake. Omega shows him, goes to go take the lead, get up on the rope. Omega gets on the rope. They're celebrating together. Ospreay's going to leave. He goes, no, get up on the other rope. Everybody's celebrating, and then boom, the wily vet hits him with that one-winged angel. Brings out the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks are like, why? And he's kind of just like, no. If he wants to be champion, if he wants to dethrone me, he's got to earn it. And then you fast forward to Dynamite. I thought Kenny Omega did the strongest thing ever, just coming out and saying, hey, we're friends and everything, but this is about the title. And then Will Ospreay kind of being like, well, I'm not interested in being your friend, bruv. To which Kenny Omega's like, well, you know what? It breaks my heart that we're not friends. But you know what? If you think you're going in there against an unmotivated Kenny Omega, you're absolutely mistaken. Because if you aren't ready to pull the trigger, kid, I'm going to pull the trigger. I promise you that. Smacking him in the face. Finally, Ospreay fights back. Kind of says that he's willing to do it only on his own terms. What did you think about let's be honest, the first promo between the two, now that we know that is the main event of All In?
Yeah, I think the One Wing Angel segment was absolutely perfect. It's a bit of a receipt of the way that Ospreay has been throughout all this. Because if you're looking at it from the perspective of Ospreay, he's pulled between two different worlds, and one side is like, this whole Death Rider thing is the wrong side to be on, and now Ospreay is kind of realizing that. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of a receipt. It's a reminder to get a little kick in the butt. Like, you've been doing the wrong thing all this time. I understand it got you back to kind of where you need to be. But even like you said on Dynamite, he's still not 100% there. He's still not really ready to do what needs to be done. Maybe he is now, though. Maybe after a One Wing Angel, a nice little promo segment, maybe he's ready to finally go all the way. We'll see.
Go all in. Go get the pun in there. Go all in. I will say this. I thought the promo segment worked well. Omega with those stiff slaps. Ooh. 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 Anyways, let's talk about the other big championship, the AEW Women's World Championship now. Pay-per-view. Tekla loses to Willow. We had talked about this coming in. And I had said, depends on what AEW wants to do. If AEW wants to go with a fresh matchup with the hot champion, you bring in Tekla. However, if you want to go with the surefire storyline, you put Willow over here and have Willow go into Wembley. They chose the latter, and I'm fine. I told you last week, and I still meant it. I was fine with the flip of the coin. I thought this was a fantastic championship match. I thought that Tekla, did a tremendous job. Willow did a tremendous job. Crowning a new champion was fun. I could have done. I'm going to be honest, and it's not because I dislike the people, but I could have done without the conglomeration getting involved. I felt like the book bag was kind of unnecessary. We don't need to keep putting the Women's World Championship doesn't need to be in a book bag. I'm sorry. Like, I get the trios titles. I don't give a damn about them being in a book bag. Doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me when Orange Cassidy does it. That's his gimmick, right? But for Willow, I understand she's a member of the conglomeration, but come on, the Women's World Championship means something. Not to poo-poo on anybody else, but it does. It means something. It's just the same problem I had with Jon Moxley. We didn't see the World Championship for a year, pretty much. Like, yeah. I'm sorry, you can't just have your top title not be seen. And so I didn't like that, but I did like the win, and I do like the setup they're going on. What was your, before we get into the setup and Dynamite, what was your thoughts on the actual match between Tekla and Willow Nightingale?
It was a very solid match. I just still can't get past that feeling, though. I just feel bad for Tekla. She's put in such amazing work, and I really hope that they give her a very, very, very high-profile segment all in, because she is so deserving of it. Her, and a matchup with Mercedes would have made money, but I get that it's not necessarily very like billboard friendly. But again, Willow was an unknown at one point too. So was Mercedes at one point a million years ago. So I mean, Tekla. I hope that in a year from now, people don't really regret that decision. I guess that's the best way to put it. Because if Willow or Mercedes gets a big win and then you go on and do nothing, then it's like you totally just did it for the marquee and didn't do anything with it. And then people will be screaming, you should have just had Tekla do it.
I mean, I agree with you to an extent. I do feel a little bad, but at the same point, juncture, I understand business. And business is you have a limited time. You have a month pretty much before All In. And so do you go, and I'm not saying that Tekla can't pull it off. It is for the women's world title. It would be two big high profile women, wrestling, but you have this nice built-in storyline. You have this built-in storyline where Mercedes Moné doesn't really beat Willow. And as a matter of fact, the record-breaking TBS title reign that Mercedes was on, the chip in the belt collector's armor was caused by Willow Nightingale, defeating her for that belt. Before that, she's also lost other matches to Willow. So her win-loss records against Willow is pretty poor. Not to mention, as Willow brought up during the promo segment, she can't win the big one. That's what the optics in AEW is the Mercedes, for all that belt collecting, is 0 for 2 in world title matches. So where's that get you? Meanwhile, Willow is your first ever Grand Slam champion. Willow dethroned you from your record TBS title run. Willow stopped you from becoming the inaugural New Japan Strong Women's Champion. Like, there's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack. And, of course, Mercedes on the other end has all that to prove. Plus, remember, Mercedes took Willow's spot in the Owen Hart Classic so she could go back-to-back and earn this shot at All In. So I get taking that deep story that you don't even have to do much more to. Like it's nice that promo segment, Willow's promo segment, just talking about winning, was awesome, and it was really a great. If you want to see a big inspirational piece, please check that out if you didn't watch it. Like, I love what she said about when you think life is too hard, when you think about giving it up, remember that the best things are still to come. Push through. I promise you that the end result is even bigger than the dream. And I thought that was something that was really meaningful, not just in the context of pro wrestling, but in life in general. And that's who Willow Nightingale is. And I thought that was perfect. And the way that the crowd adored her and loved her and made her cry, I thought that it was a beautiful moment. And I would take it. And then Mercedes comes out and does Mercedes things. And I loved it. I loved signing. I liked how Willow kind of gave it back by signing the contract on Mercedes' chest. And then Mercedes shoving her off and getting into it. I even love how they're using this to set up the AEW Women's World Tag Team Championship match that we're probably going to get at All In, with the Brawling Birds and, of course, Bane and I think it's great. I think that they're layering things in. I think that we're off to the races. I love what they're doing in the women's division of NXT. Or sorry, AEW. We're going to get that. I'm thinking
NXT as well, yes.
Ready for this? I'm skipping ahead to like something is coming up, folks. So there's a little tease on accident. But I love what they're doing with the women's division, and especially coming into the biggest show of the year. But yeah, there's a little tease for later. We'll be talking about that in a minute. Skipping up, we already talked about the Young Bucks winning. My only complaint there, was that it was like Nick Jackson was left for dead and somehow just kept coming back. Like it was like the Undertaker reborn. That was my only complaint. I still thought it was a tremendous match. Just I thought it was kind of odd. But then we get to the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. Cope and Cage retained the belts against the Death Riders. I loved that match. I love the story there. Yes. Death Riders just beat the old, the Death Riders beat the old guys in the ground. And then the old guys do what the old guys do, and they found a way to win. And I liked it. I loved the story it told. It made the Death Riders, it made Castagnoli and Pac still look strong, just overly strong, even in a loss. But at the same time, it showed that heart and perseverance of the veterans is what they're going to take into Wembley at All In, when, as of right now, we know it's a one-on-one match. Well, sorry, 2-on-2 tag team match between them and the Young Bucks for the World Championships. What's your thoughts overall on, of course, Cope and Cage retaining, and, of course, the Young Bucks winning and now having the match at Wembley? And, of course, on Dynamite, the Young Bucks kind of going a little hard at the old guys, saying that they're going to give them the old Yeller moment. We're going to put you down.
Yeah, from the match perspective, I mean, you took a match where you've already knew the ending of it. Like, come on, we knew what was going to happen here. We know AEW is focusing heavily on the marquee for All In, and again, like we've talked about, we understand that, and in many cases we do agree with that. So, but they took a match and they made it interesting. They got a good amount of time, and they did a lot with it. So there's that. The whole Young Bucks, part of the storyline, and their match as well. Their match was good. I agree. The Nick Jackson stuff it's a little odd, but at this point, it's the Young Bucks. They're going to be allowed to do whatever they want to do at this point. They've been there. I mean, they're the EVPs in reality. They're allowed a great latitude on what to do. And again, it wasn't really overly detrimental to the match. It was just kind of goofy, but that's okay. They do goofy stuff all the time. But this is a storyline that's been in place for almost a year now at this point, right? Like this is pretty much where we've been building towards. So, eye on the prize. At some point where FTR is going to get involved in this, I highly doubt it's just going to be, the one-on-one teams, FTR and well, I don't know what they're going to be called, but if the former New Day get involved, oh boy.
Well, we'll be talking about that in a second here. Just throwing it out there. I want to bring up a couple more things on the card. I mean, congratulations, Speedball Mike Bailey in his hometown. We forgot about that. When I picked Speedball last week, I picked him because of the Kevin Knight connection and everything going on there, but forgot that he's from Montreal. So that worked out wonderfully. So congratulations,
really
Speedball Mike Bailey.
Very good in that match. Yeah.
I will also say great opening contest for the actual main card. Very energetic. I also liked how they did the intros during the buy-in. So when we opened the show, we pretty much went right into the match. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was a really good job.
I think that's the best way to use the buy-in or the pre-show. It really was like, okay. It's like, okay, yeah, no, we need to watch this.
Walk it right in. I'm with you. Also, I got a big shout outs in that match. The Beast Mortos looked amazing in that match. Yes. Lots of strong stuff from that. Everybody did great, but I thought the Beast Mortos was the MVP there. Going on now, real quick, the tag match, the the double chain match, because it was on the wrist, not the collar. Dogs going over. I was kind of surprised about that, but not upset. I definitely dug the match. Some really cool stuff happened in it. We got the match we thought we were going to get. There was a little bit of fun because Juice Robinson's the match. It got violent, but not overly violent, which I was actually pleasantly surprised about because usually they go to the other route. And I still thought it was a strong match, and it carries on a feud because now we're continuing the Dogs / Death Riders and the Bang Bang Gang. And I dig that. I dig that a lot, which will probably lead into Blood and Guts at some point. Let's be honest. Usually they've been running Blood and Guts in October, but who's to say they don't run it at Wembley? No, I don't think they're going to put 2 rings in Wembley. It takes up seats. It takes up seats. But like I said, I think maybe we're going to build towards that, and that's cool in its own. I'm not even touching the Painmaker. I'm sorry. I mean, it was fine for what it was. It was violent. There we got our violent match. Once again, I'll give it this credit. In the past, AEW would have doubled and tripled down on some of the violent stuff on the show, and I think they pulled it back from everything else to put it in that match. So kudos to them on that. That's just from a business booking standpoint. Flow of the show, I liked it. There we go. But we don't need to talk more about that. I want to end on a high note, so I'll do one more. I'll do one thing and then a concern and then a high note. I know you want to talk about this. Andrade El Idolo, your new national champion. Listen, I was very excited. It was a good match. Mark Davis has been a good champion. He's a good competitor. I thought they had a fine match. I wasn't surprised. You weren't surprised. Nobody was surprised that Andrade El Idolo is the new national champion, but I still thought it was cool. Yes. I'll give you the stage. Your thoughts on your heartthrob Andrade El Idolo as the new AEW national champion.
Deserving champion. He's put in some amazing work since he's come back to AEW. The entrance music, I really dug that. That was really cool. And overall, it was a really solid match. Probably not the best showing from either one, but at the end of the day, it's a match that needed to go the way. Andrade needed a belt. He has worked so hard since he's been back in AEW, so deserving champion. And we'll see where they go with it.
Of course, how you know. All right, I'm going to get to something, and I don't want to take up too much time on this. But it's going to be I'm going to sandwich it because I want to talk about what I thought was my favorite match and the best match of the night, in my opinion, last.
Mm.
But before I do, unfortunately, I want to take one of those moments to remind wrestling fans that sometimes we have to, and it's not the ones possibly watching this show, but in general, if you see people doing this, it's terrible. I don't want to lump everybody in. I'm not going to say all AEW fans are all sickos, but we had Sheeta, Maya World, congratulations on becoming the TBS champion.
Yes.
It was a little rough of a match. I'm going to be honest with you. I think both of them have had better matches. Not detracting anything. I don't even want to go down that road. My issue wasn't even in the ring. I think the world of Maya World, pun intended, as you know, I think she's an amazing young talent who's got a gigantic upside. With that being said, for a certain portion of the wrestling fandom that's online, and if it's you, maybe you take a look in the mirror. If every time Maya World does something, you think it's time to run to the internet and talk smack about Nixon Knoll and Miranda Alizé, that is disturbing and sick behavior, and not in a good way. I love being a sicko as far as my AEW fandom, but I do not consider myself sick, because the things that are being said about two women who, for whatever reason, decided to not be a part of the company, and that is the image of why Maya World is getting a push. Does it really matter? Celebrate Maya World and her deserving push, because I think she's stepped up to the bar every time. I don't think it's because Nixon Newell decided to walk out with her now fiance. Congratulations to them. We mentioned it a couple weeks ago. I don't think that we should bring it up. Who cares? Let's just talk about Maya World grabbing the brass ring and doing big things and pushing her career far. This young lady is kickstarting what should be a tremendous career, but instead, online, we have to go, oh, look at this is what could have happened if you didn't just leave. Who cares? And it gets into the dangerous thing, because there's a lot of real sick things being said on top of that. Let's stop it. Let's stop. And if your defense to this is that, oh, well, what did people say when Mercedes and Naomi left WWE? Listen, I didn't agree with it then either. I said the same thing on the show we were doing then. Like, why is this a thing in the world? Why do we have to compare and contrast? Who cares? And then when it gets to the disturbing and disrespectful stuff, come on. Sammy, you want to button that up for me? Because I just can't anymore with this stuff.
Yeah. There are so many other things to focus on in wrestling today that are so much more important. If you want to focus on the financial side of things and how WWE is just shilling for any sort of sponsorship deal, you got Slim Jim on tables. And then on top of that, you got bad booking, bad storytelling, and you want to rant on the internet about that? Go for it. You want to talk about your favorite person not getting booked in the manner that you like or whatever? Go for it. But this is just not necessary. It's just not. And more importantly, you're not even there. Are you in catering? Rich and I are in catering. You're not even in catering. You don't even know what happened to begin with anyway. You weren't there. You're reading what somebody else says and just going with it. You have no clue what the actual story was, what was actually said, what actually happened, what actually didn't happen. Just leave it alone. Get a life, get a hobby.
And take away the disturbing things that are being said, right? Like when people take it too far. Let's just look at the fact, how does this benefit Maya World? Let's celebrate Maya World. Like, this is more disrespectful to Maya World being like, hey, listen, the only reason you're getting a shot, the only reason you have this going on is because of somebody else. No, how about because Maya World showed up and showed the fuck out? And that's right, I dropped an F-bomb. I'm far enough in the show. I think it'll be all right.
And if you want to be critical of Maya World, you could say, hey, she's getting a lot of opportunities and she hasn't been able to put on her best performances. She's been put in big spots. You could say that. I would say, well, she's a young competitor and people think very highly of her and they're going to run with this. And AEW has a history of doing that. It makes sense in their company. They have a history of taking people who maybe aren't necessarily 100% ready, whatever that ready is, but they push people. They do it all the time. And there's been plenty that have worked and plenty that haven't worked. So this is the latest one they're trying. I would say in some ways, yes, she is overachieving. And yes, in some ways she's underachieving. But at some point she will meet in the middle. But that's a fair thing if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, but when people are putting her over by basically also putting her down, I hate it. Like, just Bingo. She took advantage of a situation. If let's say that the internet, is correct, and the reason she's in this position is because somebody left. Okay, cool, but she then took advantage of it, and that's what you need to do. CM Punk just told us not that long ago, and then it happened that hey, I'll be waiting for a championship opportunity to drop into my lap.
Oh, and then it did.
And it did. And I think Maya World has done a good job of doing that as well. So congratulations to her. I think she has a gigantic upside. And I'd rather focus on the fact that whether you agree or disagree with whatever, I'd rather focus on the fact that she's taking advantage of every opportunity she's given. And kudos for that. Last but not least, before we change pace, my favorite match of the night. I didn't think nobody would ever thought I said it. Kyle Fletcher, International Championship match at Bandito. First of all, Bandito, Ring of Honor World Champion. Shout outs to Bandito. I've been a Bandito fan for a long time. Why are we not putting him in bigger situations? Because every time he steps up, every time, including this one, him and Kyle Fletcher had a tremendous match. My favorite match of the night. Kyle Fletcher, I said, hey, I'm starting to come around on Kyle Fletcher. He's starting to do a little bit of gimmick work. I mean, you saw on Wednesday the look on his face. He's starting to get some things.
Weird.
I don't like the crown thing. I agree with that. But think about it. The way he's looking at Kevin Knight side-eyeing him and stuff, the little things, he's getting it. And I thought he had a tremendous match with the Bandito here. So kudos to both. That's my opinion. I'm sorry if you don't have the same.
I guess for me to wrap up this portion of the show was I felt overall this was a really strong card. There were some pacing issues though. This was a long night. It was a very long night.
Mm-hmm. They fell into some of the traps they've fallen into in the past.
Yeah. And
by that I mean there was a couple times where they extended matches out that they should have probably not gotten another 5 or 6 minutes. They would have cut it a couple minutes shorter and it'd have been fine.
Right. And 5 to 6, not like 2 to 3. Like some of these were like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
And again, we're not talking about bad matches, but like at
no,
some
great
point,
matches.
like, right. But at some point when everything's going 18, 19 minutes, it's like
it's a long night. Give me something. Give me something in between. Give me something in between. All right, let's switch gears here, and it's kind of AEW adjacent. The other day got a video from Xavier Woods all over. Well, sorry, I should say Austin Creed all over social medias. We're not going to play it, but there's a little. It's a new day. Yes, it is what I put on there. The New Day, kind of their farewell. Of course, if you didn't see the video, go check it out. I'll give it a little overview. It's 2 unicorns in a stall chained to a wall, and the stall is inside of a big top, a circus tent. Eventually, the unicorns break free, and they charge at the ringmaster. They go past the ringmaster, and they go right for the exit. On their way out, of course, they made everybody cry as they look over their shoulder, and there's a unicorn with a broken horn, obviously meaning Big E, and gives them the nod gives them the nod of approval. They smash out of the door in the circus. They're now free, and then we get the shot of basically Woods and Kofi, and then the unicorn horns on the ground. Obviously, assuming they're going to be doing a different gimmick coming on the other side, which I would assume anyways.
I would assume.
What did you think about the video that Austin Creed put out to kind of hype up the New Day's newfound freedom?
Yeah, definitely one of the coolest vignettes that's ever been done. Outside of someone working in professional wrestling, just someone putting some sort of a vignette on their own on the internet. Definitely really cool. Obviously, it'll be wherever they end up. It's going to be AEW, but wherever they end up, you get 2 guys with such impressive resumes, but knowing, how some of that long tenured WWE talent kind of adjusts to life outside of WWE, it'll be interesting to see how they succeed in whatever promotion they land in AEW. I remember when Cope was finally free, he looked a little weird at times in AEW, and his promos were a little uneasy and stuff. It did take him some time to settle in, and there's been others as well. These guys haven't done anything besides the New Day for what, 15 years,
a decade.
16 years?
It's like a decade,
right? And Kofi's certainly not going to go back and do what he was doing before. He's not going back to that gimmick. He's not going to have a Jamaican accent, so. It'll be interesting to see what they come up with. It'll certainly be a blend of what they did as the New Day and their own personalities and such. So kudos to them. They're betting on themselves, and rightfully so.
I like what you said about Cope. There was a little bit of growing pains, but at the same time, he came in hungry. And you could tell because the in-ring performance, he picked up on that right away. He liked the energy of the crowd, and this is talking about AEW era where the hard cam side was empty a lot of times. And that's not making fun of it. It was just the time of the business. And now it's not. Now we're picking up steam. Granted, somebody would argue, oh, they're going to smaller venues, Rich. That's okay. It doesn't matter. They're going to their strengths. And it looks damn good on camera, okay? Just throwing that one out there. But anyways, without getting into those woods, I think that that's the thing. Maybe they'll have some growing pains, but I think you're going to get two men who are super hungry to prove that maybe they shouldn't have been disrespected at the end of their tenure in a company that they've given, pretty much most of their lives to. And I think that they feel I think that there's a little bit of resentment and disrespect. And I think they're going to use that to fuel themselves. And as much as we like to joke, AEW is the perfect line of spec. Tony Khan would be a fool not to sign them. Because I think you're going to get two really good wrestlers with a lot to prove. And I'm not saying an axe to grind, because as we talked about, AEW's gone away from that axe to grind stuff and gone more into, hey, let's focus that energy into good stuff. And I think you're going to see it. By the way, just want to point out that the Motor City Machine Guns also cleared and free agents. All of the members of the Wyatt Six are now cleared and free agents. I know that my local promotion, shout out to Johnny Moose, Excite Wrestling, has booked Joe Gacy, or now is it Joe Sawyer? Joseph Sawyer, I do believe is his name on the Indies now. To reach. By the way, he was one of the people who launched Excite Wrestling. He's returning home, if you will, at the Speedy Fest show coming up here in Binghamton, New York. So shout outs to Joe Gacy in his post WWE career. So everybody's hitting the ground running, and I like to see that. Love to see it. Love to see it. Now, we were just going to talk about this stuff. Oh. And, of course, Bailey Watch is still on. Rumors and innuendos. We're not going to report on any rumors and innuendos. As I said, we'll find out if it is the case that Bailey has gone the way of Sheamus or the New Day. We'll find out soon, right? And then we'll talk about it. It's still a little up in the air. Do I think she's out the door? Actually, I do. At the very least, I think she's at the very least she's weighing her options and going to take some offers. Okay, so that's the very least, in my opinion. But that was going to be all we were going to talk about, and then get into SummerSlam, because we have a lot. We have a 2-night preview. Don't worry, we're not cutting it short. You're still getting it. But then NXT happened. And NXT was a fine show. It's usually a fine show. We both love watching NXT. But, nothing newsworthy until Grayson Waller hits the ring out of nowhere and decides to drop the NXT Grayson Waller pipe bomb. Oh, boy. And I mean, this is one of those times where we call things pipe bombs because of CM Punk. And you're like, it's not. Oh, no, this very muchly was. In tone, in message, in the way it was delivered. He definitely listened to CM Punk when he talked on Stephanie McMahon's podcast about 3 truths, and then you can say whatever lies you want. But the problem is, I know he had clearance, but how much was he lying? Because I'm doing the math. And the math is adding up to like...
I don't think he lied about anything. And when we talk about pipe bombs, when he first went out there and he was going through his stuff, and I'm like, okay, he's attempting to do a pipe bomb. Ha, ha, ha. Okay, all right, yeah. But then as he got into it, it was like, oh no, he really is dropping. He really is kind of going for it. Oh, he's really going for it. Kudos to you.
I mean,
what was interesting,
comes out.
What I find really interesting about this, though, is that we also got an interesting segment on Monday Night Raw with Solo, the Usos, and LA Knight, and Royce Keys and Jacob eventually got involved. But it was similar in a lot of ways as well, where they're just kind of calling out the BS. And obviously that can get the crowd hyped up and such, but it's like, is this, and then the pipe bomb, is this finally the direction that WWE is going to go? Are they finally going to embrace these things and go and like, no, these guys are actually calling out our BS. We need to do something about it. Or is, the Usos going to win at SummerSlam and Grayson Waller won't end up winning? Because right now he needs to win the NXT title. He has to. Like right now, he is the hottest guy in that promotion right now.
I agree. I mean, if somebody asked me just for putting my Booker's hat back on and my work in the wrestling business hat on, I said, shit, this is a license to print money. If they do the right thing, this is a license to print money. I do think that maybe we're turning the corner where they want to blur the lines again, which is always a good thing. Because then, when I understand, it's going to sound weird to say reality, but when you bring things closer to what's reality and you shine a mirror up to what the fans and the people online and everything are saying without like just saying it works. Cause obviously it's obvious in the room, but the Grayson Waller thing is interesting because it's out of left field. Nobody thought, I mean, I know there's some people who took their shots, and it's kind of funny because I'm going to make a point of it in a second, but when he comes out, first of all, what the hell is he doing on NXT? Secondly, he gets in the ring, he's on the mic and he's basically like, hey, listen, my career's been the crapper. Hey, he has eyes. I came up and I started off real hot and this and that. Then I got saddled with a 240-pound Austin Theory, making reference to Maxine needing a mouthpiece because he can't get the job done on the mic. So vacuums out all the charisma. To then talk about, going to a funeral. The funny part, the funeral was his career. Oh, geez. Right on the nose. To now, hey, maybe I should come back here. And then he brings it back to business. Maybe I should come back here and do the thing I didn't do and win the NXT title. Because at least when you do that, Braun Breaker and Oba Femi, they did that. Look they're doing pretty damn well. Ethan Page, all these guys doing pretty damn well. But the problem is, and then he goes right back into the pipe bomb portion because he says, hey, it's easy. This place is right for the pickers because all the talent's gone. There ain't a drop of talent on the men's side. Oh, 90% of this roster thinks it should be moved up to the main roster. The problem is only 10% should be moved up, and all 10% in the women's division. I love how he put over the women's division. We've been talking about that for years. I thought it was perfect. Not tone deaf at all. Once again, when you're talking about truths, there's a truth. Like a lot of this is true. Calling out the people that they've signed in the NILs. Saying, hey, you're here because you think you're going to be rich and famous, and this is going to be a stepping stone to this and that. You're just on your phones. That's why I'm out here running my mouth. And ain't a damn one of you come out here to stop me. Challenging Shawn Michaels when the director comes over. Oh, tell him to come on down. I got stuff to say. I'm sending people down. Hell, I'm asking for it. I'm asking for it right now. Calls out Cruz Montana by name. Of course, you got your answer. Like Santana. Calls him out by name. Oh, you came here, but who? TNA ain't been relevant since 2005. Wow. Or 2015, whatever it was. Wow. But you come here and you think you're going to separate it, and trust me, you ain't doing nothing. I thought it was tone perfect. They cut the mic. He's tone perfect. I thought he went out there and he aired some grievances. I know it's a work, but he aired some grievances that are very real. That's going to get the fans behind it. I mean, the fans started chanting. I even pulled the Punk there. Fans started chanting his name. Don't start chanting my name now. I don't need you. I'm cooking. Let me cook. Like, I thought everything he did was golden to the point that you have two different thoughts now. You got CM Punk and John Cena openly saying how great it was. And then you got Lance Storm, and I love Lance Storm. Lance Storm, I think, got a little bit of, butthurt about the fact that Grayson Waller mentioned that Austin Theory, like most guys, the NIL guys, don't want to learn how to talk on this microphone because they don't think they need to. But guess what? You do. You do. And I saw Lance Storm say,
especially in WWE.
I saw Lance Storm say, well, anywhere, even in AEW.
No, yeah, but especially in WWE though, and it shows big time in WWE. If you can't use the mic, you're in trouble.
Right. But it's on. It's anywhere. Because here's the thing, and no offense to Lance Storm, because I'm glad he typed it. I don't know if he was upset about it or he just happened to put a picture of him and Dawn Marie making fun of the fact that he had a valet because he couldn't talk. And it's like but you proved the perfect example if you are butthurt about it. there's plenty of phenomenal wrestlers like a Lance Storm or a Claudio Castagnoli, or, the list goes on. They're tremendous wrestlers. Don't get me wrong. Some of the best in-ring performers you can find, but there's a reason they're not the top guy, because the top guy has to be able to talk people into the building. That's why MJF is the top guy. That's why Roman Reigns is the top guy. Not before. Think about it. When Roman wasn't able to talk, they booed him mercifully out of the building. All of a sudden, he comes back as a tribal chief, and he figured it out. Granted, he wasn't a great wrestler before. He's a lot better now on all aspects of the business, let's be honest. I'm not saying he's the best, but think about it. Who throughout the history of time in pro wrestling has just been a great wrestler and not able to talk people in the building that we consider on that top tier of legends? Don't worry, I'll wait.
There's one, and even that one, it really doesn't even work. Brock Lesnar. And even Brock Lesnar can handle himself on the mic.
And he's also entertaining.
Right. He's the only one, right? He's the only one. And even then, he would still, and he would still get over just because he's an absolute beast of a man. But he could handle himself on the mic well enough. And like you said, he could do the entertaining stuff. He didn't do it so much in the middle part of his career there, but early on he did a lot of fun stuff.
He did fun stuff. Later on, Brock Box.
Later on, yeah. So, but yeah, he'd be like the only one that you could maybe say.
Because think about it, Kurt Angle, good on the mic, not tremendous, but good.
Kurt Angle's one of the best entertainers in wrestling ever.
Amazing entertainer, right? I'm agreeing. Let's think about it. Ric Flair, all around player. Woo. Dusty Rhodes, all around player. Listen. Harley Race, all-around player.
Hogan, Macho.
Let's go back to Hogan, Macho, Michaels, Stone Cold, Rock, Cena.
Bret Hart.
The list goes on. And you could even argue, Bret Hart got it done. Here's the thing. You could even make the argument that there's been guys who were better on the mic than they were in the ring that
Rock
got over. And even in AEW, though, think about AEW's coming at Kenny Omega, good on the mic. Will Ospreay, good on the mic. Sometimes he gets a little caught up, but good on the mic. MJF, one of the tops. John Moxley is one of the most entertaining people. I think people don't give him the credit he deserves because he can cut a promo and make you feel something. Hangman Adam Page, sure as hell can. You know what I mean? And the list goes on. And I'm not taking away from a Claudio Castagnoli or a Lance Storm. And I hate to pick on those guys, but that's the reason they've never been the top champion of those promotions. That is why Claudio, when he left WWE, and people are like, oh, he's going to finally be world champion in AEW. He's not. Because now you're going to go out there and you have to get on the mic with a Kenny Omega or a John Moxley or an MJF. And you can't rely on them just to talk you into the building. Samoa Joe is a tremendous entertainer as well. We could go on and on. Even Bryan Danielson. And for those people who don't think so, there's a whole yes movement that still goes to this day. So come on.
Right, and so there are certainly ways you can try and protect someone. You can do a lot of pre-tape stuff. You can do a lot of backstage stuff where you can do multiple takes. But at the end of the day, at some point, you got to be able to get in the ring. You got to pull out a microphone, and either you got to speak to the crowd and the TV audience, or you got to speak to somebody else right in your face. And if you can't do it,
and I know I'm oversimplifying, but I've said this a million times. Anybody can do the moves, but not everybody can get a gimmick and get over. And that is a fact. Because think about it. Danhausen, perfect proof of that. Orange Cassidy, perfect proof. Because both of them could do the moves. Both of them are fantastic wrestlers. But they got over with the gimmicks. And over more than you're going to get anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like another gimmick that people don't give credit for being a gimmick. Darby Allin. Tremendous gimmick. It's a gimmick. And it's great. And he's over. You know what I mean?
Mankind was a gimmick.
Mankind, gimmick. Or Mick Foley as a whole understood the gimmick.
Right.
No matter what gimmick he was in, whether it's Mankind, Catch Jack, bang, bang.
But what got Mankind over in WWE? It was the promo work that he did with the mic. Yeah. Oh, dude. God, anyway. At this point, Grayson Waller has to, next show, he's got to win the belt. He has to.
I don't know if it necessarily has to be next show, but yeah, I think he has to win.
No, well, not next Tuesday, but like the next big show. I mean, he's got to be in a high profile spot. And in my opinion, he should win the belt because everything he said is not wrong. the truth and the lies thing. I'm like, I don't know where he lied.
Yeah, I absolutely. Once again, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. So with that being said, we'll have to see where it plays out. WWE, the ball's in your court now. Because right now it's not on, I don't think it's on Grayson Waller whether this sinks or swims. If you book him and you book him right, you've just printed money. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how you print money. So if you're asking me if I'm upset about it, not at all. As long as they make but once again, creatively bankrupt could happen, and then that's on them. All right.
Yeah.
It's time.
Time to talk about the bankruptcy.
It's time to talk about the 2-day event that is known as SummerSlam, which is coming to you from beautiful, I don't know, it's sunny this time of year, Minneapolis, Minnesota, of course, at the U.S. Bank Stadium. That's where the Vikings play football, Miss Sammy. Yeah, the Minnesota Vikings. That's where they play. So that's going down. And of course, that's going down this Saturday. And well, he actually didn't play there. No, if you remember,
I know. I'm just joking.
Even when he tried out for the team, they were still in the old dome. Remember?
I know.
But anyways,
this is funny.
I digress. So anyways, it's good 2 nights. So Saturday and Sunday, both nights, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start time. 5:30 Eastern is the official pre-show, but they're going to be doing stuff before then. But whatever.
Not
all
matches,
right.
Though.
Of course not. That's not what they do. All right, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about night 1 and night 2. We're going to start with night 1. We're going to give our picks, and we're going to see what's going on. So night 1, let's start off with this match. It is a 6-woman tag team extravaganza as the Bella Twins, Nikki and Brie Bella, with their tag team partner Paige, will take on Fatal Influence, JC Jane, and of course, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Laney Reed and Phelan Henley. They just took the belts off of the Brie and Paige. What do you think is going to go down in this 6-woman tag team extravaganza, Miss Sammy?
Yeah, the Bellas and Paige are losing here, and that's going to be the end of this story. And then finally, because the Bellas can still go after the belts together, but Paige, there are too many other, women on this roster that she hasn't had an opportunity to work with. And again, age is still on Paige's side. Not to say that the Bellas are over the hill or anything like that, but like she's still young in her career, which she took a long gap, but she started off so young. So like, there's a lot of mileage in the tank, and we know she's had severe injury history. So let's get going on her doing some single stuff. So that starts here.
I'm also going to say Fatal Influence. Let's keep going the push to Fatal Influence. And yeah, it's a good way to get the Bellas and Paige apart. Yeah, somehow, some way. Next up, because we could have balanced this out on the 2 nights, but instead, why not do them both on the same night in a 6-man tag team extravaganza? We got the team of LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, and Royce Keys taking on the Bloodline team of Jimmy and Jay Uso and Jacob Fatu. You mentioned earlier, great promo segment on Monday Night Raw to lead into this one. I get to go first on this. You know what? I love you, Solo, and I need this to happen because I'm tired of the Bloodline storyline. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I need LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, and Royce Keys to win this match. I have a feeling that this is where creative bankruptcy will rear its ugly head. But please, for the love of everything holy, let's have LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, and Royce Keys win so we can move on in a fashion to put some fresh blood over, if you will. Sammy, your thoughts?
If they don't, we riot. I mean, just adding on to that, we know there's going to be Enzo and Big Cass returning, so that is a new a new tag team into their tag team wrestling. The Usos need to get back to working in that tag team division because there's also the potential for the Lucha Brothers to get back together on WWE TV. So like that, if you're ever going to do anything with tag team wrestling, now is your chance. You're bringing back a back team. Bringing back a team. You have the Usos. You have the Luchas. Like, here's your chance to do something. I know they won't, but that's what I hope. So done with the bloodline.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right, next up is a match that is one of the ones I have circled as a match that I'm super excited for SummerSlam this year, and that is the Ring General Gunther taking on the National Treasure, Nick Aldis. That's right, Nick Aldis is finally going to be in a wrestling match in a WWE ring. We've been waiting for this for a while. The question is on everybody's minds: are we going to get the National Treasure, or are we not? So, Sammy, you get to pick first. Who's walking out of SummerSlam your winner? And what does this mean? Which version of Nick Aldis are we getting?
Well, I think Gunther is going to win here, and I think it's just going to be a Nick Aldis runs out of gas type story, and that's an interesting story because it'll be interesting to see if he goes forward here. Because if he goes forward, he will get a win over Gunther, and then you could go and do a third match at some point. But like, I feel like that's kind of the best way to do it. Is he runs out of gas, a la CM Punk earlier this year. Yeah, because that makes sense. He hasn't wrestled in many years, but I think you're going to get to see the Nick Aldis of old, just not long enough to be Gunther in his prime right now. And that's a good story.
I see this going one of two ways. So I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think that this match is not a tryout, because don't get me wrong, the WWE knows what they have with Nick Aldis. I think this is a match where Nick Aldis is going to decide whether he wants to wrestle full-time or not. Okay? And what I mean by that is I think he's earned this leeway. I think the WWE, if they're smart, has got this book two different ways. Okay? There's the way where I feel great about this match during the match. I'm going to continue on. In that case, I think Gunther goes over so you can bring the match back, continue the feud, right? As you pointed out. I think the other faction, or actually, because you can do this ending for either or, because you can borrow it, because we've seen it before. The other way you could end this match, and actually this is the safe way if you only want one finish, is think about Triple H versus Shawn Michaels all those years ago at SummerSlam. Shawn came back for a final match. They left it up to him, said, hey, this could lead to more. We don't know. So how do we book it? Shawn gets the quick win. Remember, he basically won on a roll-up, a tuck-through. And then Triple H attacked him after the match. So if Shawn never wants to wrestle again, or he doesn't think his body's able, now we have a way that we wrote him off. However, if he wants to come back, now we gave him a win over a top guy, putting him back in that top-tier position he should be in. I think that's what you're going to end up here. I think Nick Aldis is going to win, but I think that's only because they're going to want to write him off one way or another. Either he gets to quit, and it's going to be a quick win if he does, unless he's only doing one and done. If he's already made up his mind and it's one and done, Gunther goes over clean, probably submission, right? Runs out of gas, submits him out. If he's thinking about testing the waters, I think what they're going to do is, hey, we're going to have you get the quick roll up, the surprise win, the weak win. So it still shows that you're not better than Gunther currently. But then Gunther can beat you down after the match. And that's either going to be you never come back because you're injured, or this builds into the feud. I think that's the safe way to go. If you're from a booking standpoint. That's how I look at it. All right. Let's move on to the Women's World Championship match. Your champion, she's a lot of trouble, Liv Morgan, taking on the Genius of the Sky, Io Sky. Of course, Io Sky won the Queen of the Ring tournament to become the number one contender for this title. And actually a rematch from the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament. So with that being said, belts on the line, who's going to win? Now, I think because Io won the Queen of the Ring, I think Liv Morgan's going over. That's just my thought. I hate it for one aspect because it's WWE's 50-50 booking, and that's exactly how they think about booking these things. And they have not proven to me that they know how to book a champion. So I am going to say Liv Morgan, and still your choice, Miss Sammy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I really can't add anything more to that. It is disappointing. Liv Morgan's been champion since WrestleMania. What has she done? Nothing. She's been on TV every week, right? Doing nothing.
I full-heartedly agree. Next up, it is now officially a Hell in a Cell match as the Beast, Brock Lesnar, in his home state of Minnesota, takes on the ruler, Oba Femi. Interesting that they made this Hell in a Cell match. little bit more stakes on the line, I guess. But I don't know if it was really technically needed. I think everybody still just wants to see the two big bulls go out there and lock horns. Miss Sammy, your thoughts on it being a Hell in a Cell match, and who do you have leaving Minnesota and walking out of the Hell in a Cell, the true ruler, if you will?
Well, Oba's going to win here. If he doesn't, then they've totally fumbled the ball with him and fumbled the 6-month ball with him. But I don't think this needed to be Hell in a Cell. Like, did it? No. I know they wouldn't do a cage match. A cage match would make more sense, but I know they wouldn't do that. They would just go right to Hell in a Cell with the two guys involved. But like a cage match would make more sense because then they are truly contained. Like that's one of the key things about the Hell in a Cell. You're not really contained. You can still get out of the ring. Yeah, you're stuck in the cell, but big whoop-de-doo. Like all it does is just keep you in the in-ring area, whereas a cage keeps you in the ring. So that, but you know, it's the Hell in a Cell is the bigger thing. It's been built up to be the bigger thing. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre rehabbed it. So yeah, it makes sense from that aspect to do Hell in a Cell, but from an actual practicality standpoint, it would make more sense to be a cage. But whatever, I digress. Obafemi wins here. Otherwise, we riot.
I will say this. I don't see the point of having a cell here. And the only reason why is because usually you add a gimmick to kind of add to it. I think there was enough sizzle to this already. Do I think it hurts it? No. So I'm fine with it being in a cell. I just think that they're kind of ruining that. Oh, I lost connection. What the hell's going on?
Well, I can still hear you.
So yeah, I know. That's fine. I'll get it back. But anywho, going back to what I was saying, we are in a position where I think that actually I can do this. Oh, there you are. I have a secondary backup camera. I just had to go to it. So if it looks a little darker, I'm sorry. Anyways, this is a lot. We're live, pal. We're live. So anyways, going back to what I was saying, I just don't think it need to be in a cell. Whatever. I think you're right. Obafemi has to win this match. If Oba does not win, that means what did we do all this for? Because I think you have to put Oba over so that way he can go on to Roman Reigns. That's the whole plan, right? I thought maybe not, but that's my takeaway. Just bottom line. All right, that leaves one match left, and it's for the undisputed WWE Championship. Your champion, the Second City Saint, the best in the world, CM Punk, taking on QB1, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and of course, we've been building to this pretty damn good. I would have argued that this should have been the night 2 main event because of how well it's been built up. Just throwing it out there. But obviously,
I don't think you can argue it just should have been.
The powers that be didn't feel the same way. So with that being said, we have this on night 1. This is an interesting choice. If I'm booking this show, I'm going and still CM Punk, WWE champion, with a heel turn from Cody Rhodes at the end. That's how I'm booking it.
Yeah.
How WWE books it? Probably Cody goes over clean with a baby face, shake the hand finish. But I'm hoping for I'm hoping for my choice. Your choice, Sammy.
Yeah, I think Punk goes over here. Whether or not Cody goes heel would be in question, but I do think Punk goes over. I think he's one of the few guys that just kind of breaks that mold of like, oh no. He's actually potentially a bigger star than Cody Rhodes. No, he wins this one. So yeah.
Well, we'll find out soon enough. Let's head on over to night 2. Ready for night 2? Let's talk about the first match. The first match we're going to talk about on night 2 for the WWE United States Championship. Your champion, Trick Williams, taking on the man who just returned, Baron Corbin. So Baron Corbin and Trick Willie will be your WWE United States Championship match. Miss Sammy, who's leaving Minnesota and SummerSlam as the WWE United States Champion.
This is actually a tricky one because the obvious answer is no, Trick wins, but Trick has done enough with this belt. It could be time to move him off of it, but the only place to move him to would be top of the card. And do they feel that this is time to do that? Because like a Trick CM Punk kind of feud would be kind of cool, but is Cody going to be comfortable with that? I'm kidding. That's just total backstage BS. But you know what I mean? Like, is this roster ready for one of these NXT alums, these recent call-ups, because Trick's been there a little bit longer, but you know what I mean? Like, are they ready for one of these guys to be at the top of the card? And I think that will be the question here, because if Trick retains, then no, they're not ready for that yet. But if Trick loses and Baron wins, then that makes a lot of sense, because Baron Corbin can take the title, he can do a little bit with it, and then he can put somebody else over, which is why he's back. So I don't know. It's kind of a coin flip. I think Trick retains, because I don't think they're ready to move him to the top of the card, even though he is ready to move to the top of the card.
Well, we're already moving Obafemi to the top of the card. Let's be honest. So I look at it like this. I think Trick Willie is going to retain here just to continue status quo for right now. Not saying that Trick Willie won't be at the top of the card sooner than later, but I just think that because we already know Oba's primed for that, it makes more sense to have one young talent at a time. So I think that's what they're going to go with. Not that he's not ready, because I think Trick Willie could be on the top of the card tomorrow if he wants to be. Next up, we have a singles match to determine the number one contender for the undisputed WWE Championship. Former champion Sami Zayn taking on Finn Balor. One of these two will walk out as the number one contender for the undisputed championship. This is like a toss-up. I'm going to go with Finn Balor, because I think that that's the better of the two guns right now. Not saying anything against Sami Zayn, but he just came off of the championship win, and I just think that it probably better optics for Finn Balor. Your choice, Miss Sammy.
No, I'm with you, Finn Balor, and there's already the storyline of Balor and Punk. So like, if Punk retains, like that works, and Finn Balor mixing it up with Cody would be kind of interesting. It'd be a little bit different than Sami Zayn just being back into the same mix with the same guys that he's been messing around with for the past several years. Finn Balor, please win.
Agreed. Next up, we have Human Money's on a Pole match, as the winner of this will keep the $100,000 that Danhausen stole from the Judgment Day. And of course, that'll be Danhausen versus Dirty Dominic Mysterio, the king of the luchadors. Miss Sammy, who's going to be $100,000 richer walking out of SummerSlam?
First off, the audience is richer, because I'm pretty sure we got a Judy Bagwell reference about this match on Raw. So, like, I think we are already the winners. I know some people didn't really love the segment on Monday Night Raw. I didn't really love it either. But at the end of the day, it's Danhausen. It still works. So this is tough. I think Danhausen has to win. I think the curse you have to do it to keep the believability of the curse, because who were the first people to get cursed? It's Judgment Day.
I dig it. I can dig it. I'm also going Danhausen over here. Why not? All the monies. The human monies. All right, next up, the vacant WWE Women's Championship will be on the line. That's right. Rhea Ripley has vacated the title. And it will be a 5-way ladder match to determine who is going to become the new, WWE Women's Champion. So far, via earning a way in by winning, we have Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, Chelsea Green, and Charlotte Flair. And this upcoming Friday on SmackDown, before we record, either Julia or Last Legend will be the last person added to this match. So, one of those 5, well, technically it'll be 6 after this one up. So one of these 6 women will walk out as your new WWE Women's Champion. Now, mind you, they said the interim WWE Women's Champion. I hope they're really not doing an interim here. I hate that concept. I hate it in UFC, and I hate the concept. I hated it in wrestling because I hated when AEW did it. Just make the person champion. So with that being said, who do you think's leaving SummerSlam as the the interim, or hopefully just WWE Women's Champion?
You have an amazing opportunity here. Even if you do it as an interim thing, you have an amazing opportunity here to tell one Michael P.S. Hayes to suck it. Chelsea Green walks away your champion. Please, it's time.
I love it. I love everything about that. I'm going to be rooting for Chelsea Green, but I don't think they're going to go Chelsea, unfortunately.
They have to.
I'm going to say they're going to go Tiffany Stratton. They're going to go back to the although she is, but I just think they're going to go back to the ball pin. She's a proven champ. Yeah, that's my pick. All right, next up, the WWE Intercontinental Championship is on the line. Your champion, Penta, taking on the man who is, since he's been back in the saddle again, has been doing phenomenal things, and that is Chad Gable. And oh man, I'm just going to say it. I love Penta. Chad Gable is going to walk out Intercontinental Champion, or else they don't know what the hell they're doing. This is one of those situations we were talking about earlier with Grayson Waller. Chad Gable, strap the rocket ship to him now, put the Intercontinental title on him, and then continue moving him forward. I'm going Chad Gable. Your thoughts, Miss Sammy?
Chad Gable. Penta's been an amazing champion, but he's been champion long enough. It's time for him to move on and do other things. It's Chad Gable's time. It's time. It's time. It's overtime.
And last but not least, the main event of night 2 of SummerSlam and the entire weekend for the World Heavyweight Championship. Your World Heavyweight Champion and Tribal Chief, the Big Dog, Roman Reigns, taking on Seth freaking Rollins for the 999,000th time. The question is who's walking out champion. I think we all know the answer. But the bigger question is, who really gives a damn?
Not me.
The only way I would care about this match at this point in juncture, and mind you, there is 0% chance of this happening, is if Jon Moxley shows up. And there is 0% chance of that happening.
Well, I guess Edge could come back. If that's also 0%, he could come back and be like, "Oh no, I'm stacking them this time."
I just don't care, and I don't know why.
Maybe Shawn.
We
know
why it's night 2.
Appearance. Yeah, so you could turn off the TV and go to bed.
I mean, are we both in agreement that Roman Reigns is walking out World Heavyweight Champion, right?
I don't even care if he did or didn't win. I wouldn't care if Seth Rollins won. I wouldn't care. This feud is so boring. Boring.
I agree.
Roman is boring right now. Sorry, said it. He's boring.
Well, once again, here's the problem. I think it has less to do with Roman and more to do with the crappy booking. They have not booked a champion properly. Think about it. Cody Rhodes wasn't booked properly. Gunther, when he had the belt, wasn't booked properly. The jury's still out on Punk because it's still so fresh, right?
Punk's last run was okay. His last run was okay. Yeah. The run he wasn't really supposed to have, but whatever,
Remind me what Liv Morgan's done since she's been champion, and that's not a shot at Liv. I love Liv.
Nothing.
Remind me what, before she got injured, what Mommy had to do since she's been champion. Like, I'm being serious.
Flirting with Alexa Bliss.
I'm asking for a friend if they can know how to book a champion.
Who were the tag team champions? I couldn't tell you. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. So with that being said,
I'm with you. So
with that being said, SummerSlam as a whole, we just went over it. Miss Sammy, I know when we preview shows, technically you pay for this one. It's on ESPN. By the way, did you hear the good news about that? If you have YouTube TV, I guess ESPN Direct is now free for you. Just like it was for some other cable companies. So there you go. So this will be the first pay-per-view, because we call them pay-per-view again, since you're paying $30, that you might get it for free if you have that. With that being said, though, because you're paying for it, how excited are you for the 2-night extravaganza that is known as SummerSlam this year?
I am very excited for night 1.
Me too.
Right?
Me too.
I'm excited for night 1. Night 1 is a stacked card. I would not be surprised if we get a Brock Oba first in a Hell in a Cell. Why not? That way Brock can go home. But
if you're not the main event, you better be first.
Right? I wouldn't be shocked by that. Would it be crazy to start SummerSlam off with a Hell in a Cell match? I could see that. That would be cool. Yeah. So night 1 is going to be awesome. Night 2's got a lot of work to do. To be fair, Miss Sammy,
Night 2 still got some matches I'm interested in. I am interested in Trick Willie's match because I love Trick Willie. I think Baron Corbin's been underrated for a long
just
time.
Saddled by the main event yawn boring fests.
I agree with you because I think Penta and Chad Gable should be a barn burner. Sami Zayn and Finn Balor should be fantastic. I mean, once again, this could be botched by booking. Danhausen and Dominic Mysterio will be entertaining. Is all hell. That's what it's supposed to be, right? And the women's ladder match should be entertaining. And I'm agreeing with you. The main event being kind of lackluster because nobody cares kind of hurts the show because everything else on the card I'm at least interested in seeing. Just throwing it out there.
No, I'm with you. But it really brings down the show, and it shouldn't because people are like, "Oh, it's Roman Reigns. It's Roman Reigns." It's like, yeah, it's Roman Reigns. It hasn't been that entertaining since he won. And Seth Rollins hasn't done anything entertaining in years. He's the same whiny character he's been for a couple of years now. Boring.
Agreed. I can agree. I'm going to piss some people off here. You know what I'm happiest for? That means after this event, we're officially on the countdown to All In.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, and this pay-per-view's got a lot of work to do because then all the news does shift to All In, and All In is shaping up to be a massive show. Not to say that SummerSlam is not. SummerSlam is not a slouch here, but it's going to have a lot of commercials. It's going to have a lot of ad breaks. Matches are not going to get the kind of time that they should get, that the competitors deserve or even necessarily want, because that is a question at this point, right? Like, well, I'm getting paid anyway. What does it matter if I do 5 minutes or 15 minutes? So I don't know. As soon as the calendar, as soon as it flips to Wednesday, it's AEW for the rest of the month.
Well, with that being said, that brings us to the end of this week's edition of 607 TWS, the wrestling show. We will be back, of course, next week, same time as we always are, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Fanlight Zone YouTube channel. With that being said, we will be talking about SummerSlam and all the news is going. But until then, make sure you head. Ken will kill me if I don't do this. Visit fanlightzone.com. Check out all the great stuff there because that's who we're powered by. Make sure you're following us on all the social medias because Ken M will be live posting during SummerSlam. I promise you that much. And then, of course, whether you're there or if you're watching on Twitch or X, make sure you head over to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon for notifications, and, of course, hit the thumbs up to help us conquer the algorithm. With that being said, we're going to call this long episode over. We'll be back next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday night to talk SummerSlam and all the news in pro wrestling that happens during the week. But until then, for myself, for Miss Sammy, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and most importantly, later wrestling fans.